So today I want to be real to you guys about Overwatch and why I personally haven't given up on the game. Now, I'm going to be real here as well and say that Overwatch has a lot of problems. And personally, I think the way that they've been balancing Overwatch is not very great. I think that they take too long to fix terrible metas, and at the same time, they just push out certain updates way too quickly. There's a lot of stuff in the game that just doesn't make way too much sense. There's a lot of stuff that pushes players out of the game. A lot of the metas just aren't really that well made or that fun to play with or against. And overall, there's been a ton of problems in Overwatch, but I'm still playing the game and I'm still somewhat enjoying Overwatch. And I think I want to talk about today is the fact that I do complain about Overwatch a lot, and I will throw out a lot of the just huge problems about the game. But that's because I want the game to get better. And honestly, Overwatch has probably been one of the funnest games I've ever played. And that's why I feel like it's actually worth it for my time to talk about the game even 2 years later. Now, a good idea for me probably would have been to switch to a game like Fortnite or PUBG or something like that, as, you know, those are more popular games. Maybe it would have worked, maybe it wouldn't have worked, who knows. But I felt like Overwatch was, by itself, probably one of the funnest games to talk about ever, at least for me. Maybe League of Legends comes in at a close second, but Overwatch really is an enjoyable game to talk about. It's a really enjoyable game to theory craft, and it's really an enjoyable game to play. They try to mix it up a lot, and while they might make a lot of mistakes mixing it up, again, with balancing, it still creates something new for myself, and honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts about Overwatch. Now, I'm going to say something right here that you might not want to hear, and that is that right now, Overwatch isn't my favorite game to play. And honestly, for about the past year, Overwatch hasn't really been my favorite game to play. I mean, the metas have been somewhat boring. My favorite characters haven't been that good. But at the same time, even though it's not my favorite game, it's still a game I do play a lot. It's still a game I have a lot of fun with. I will dibble-dabble with a lot of other games. You know, I switched to PUBG for a long time, about 300 hours. And then I switched to Dragon Ball FighterZ for a long time. I have like 200 hours. I switched to a lot of different games, mainly fighting games and shooting games. But at the same time, I always have Overwatch in the back burner. And I have a good reason for this. And that is that even though it might not be my favorite game at the current time, or even though it might not be the best meta, Overwatch always seems to supply at least a fun time and at least a good competitive experience. And I think that's the number one thing that I really like about the game. Again, sure, sometimes there are very boring metas. Of course, there are sometimes mercy metas, and I'm not a hit scan player, so I'm completely screwed. But it does supply a very competitive situation that I think is, while somewhat toxic, honestly quite a bit less toxic than most of the other competitive online games I've played. And I found a lot more people that are fun to talk to on Overwatch than a lot of other games. For myself personally, my favorite reason to stick with Overwatch and keep playing is that honestly, it gives me a consistent ability to test my capability and how good I am at Overwatch all the time. It lets me play a competitive game for years on end, and yeah, I'm probably not as good as I wish I would be. I probably should spam a ton of more hours and, you know, hit grandmaster finally and, you know, do a lot of things, but at the same time, I'm having a lot of fun with the game still when I want to go for it. And at the same time, I feel like it still is a pretty fun competitive experience. And for myself personally, I haven't given up on Overwatch because it gives me the same enjoyable competitive feelings that playing a regular sport does. It's very fast paced. The game isn't all about items and stats and everything like League of Legends is. It's mainly about positioning and timing and getting good ultimates off and getting picks and all of that, which I think is extremely fun. And no game really does quite as well as this game. It's not super repetitive either, which is really fun. And overall, I think, again, while sure, sometimes I might switch to another competitive game, and sure, sometimes I might switch to another casual game to just play for fun and switch on and off every once in a while, Overwatch is a quite consistent, fun platform to enjoy myself as far as video games go. And probably one of the platforms I'm going to keep doing for a long time. Now, I'm going to say one thing right here that you might not know, and that is that I played Super Smash Bros. A lot in the past. And that was probably my other number one game of all time other than Overwatch, because I made a ton of Smash Bros. Videos, and you can actually go still see those on my channel if you want to. They're alright. You know, I don't love them, I don't hate them. They're alright, but they're there. But I had a really bad problem about Smash Bros. That doesn't really exist in Overwatch, and this might be something that you don't really think about. Well, I guess one thing I want to say is that I've never been able to play way too many sports. You know, I'm alright at them, but haven't been put into those way too much. So I've always had a good competitive nature, but always not really been able to execute on it way too much. So I picked up Super Smash Bros. got into that, started playing it a lot, and started getting pretty good online. But the problem about that type of game is that I really could only play quite casual matches. And if I really wanted to go into a huge competitive scene, I'd have to go and drive to a tournament. And at the time, I wasn't old enough to drive to a tournament, and when I finally got old enough, I was kind of already out of the game. So, yeah. But when we switch back to Overwatch, it's a little different because I've been able to, again, consistently go to, essentially, mini tournaments every single day. I guess every single game is a different tournament, and actually test my skill, see where I am compared to all the other players, rank up, rank down. And even though the ranking system in Overwatch is very frustrating, and sometimes I just won't play for like an entire month because I'm just done, it's a nice thing to keep in mind, and it's a nice thing to have on the back burner, because a lot of the times you will get to a new game, really enjoy it, play it for a few months, but then realize that, yeah, I kind of do want some competitive matches. I don't want to be playing this casual game like Fortnite right now. And Overwatch kind of supplies that. And I think it's a really fun part about the game. And, being able to do that 24/7 for years on end and not having to, go to a tournament and not having to really do anything like that. Essentially being able to have a very fun competitive time without having way too much commitment. It's honestly probably one of my favorite parts about this game. And maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe that's a good thing. But that's one of the reasons why I've still continued to play it and really enjoy it. And I guess another reason why I have actually kept playing it is that, honestly, it's allowed me to talk about something online with other people and given me a good community to be with. And, maybe that's not really kudos to the game. Maybe that's just the community and everything. But that's a reason why I personally have kept on playing Overwatch and why I think a lot of people probably keep playing it. Maybe you don't play competitive anymore. Maybe you still do. I don't really know. I don't really care. But in general, it allows me to just express my feelings about something. And I know a lot of people like me just don't normally do that way too much. But this does give a good platform to do it, be it in your competitive matches if you're kind of toxic, or on the forums if you want to do it that way, or on Discord, or wherever, in quick play where there's a lot of nice people. There's a lot of different situations where this game gives me and other people an opportunity to talk and gives people a voice. And in a lot of other shooting games, and a lot of other fighting games, a lot of other every type of game online, I don't really feel that sense of community at all. But Overwatch does have that, and that's kind of why I've been sticking through it. Even if the meta's good, or even if the meta's bad, it doesn't matter way too much. I can still talk about it, I can still enjoy it, I can still complain about it to my friends, and say, hey, look how stupid this meta is, I hate the developer team. But then, a month later, when a good meta's coming out, I can again talk about what I like about this meta. I can talk about the great things about it and where it's going up and up and up. And then, I hype it all up and the hype train goes up and down and up and down, whatever. But I honestly love that about this game. And since it has a half-decent amount of changes, I've been able to do that for a long time. And hopefully they keep changing the game so I can keep on doing that. Honestly, I can just get back into the game a lot, so maybe that's my own benefit. But another thing I'm going to say right here that has kind of kept me in Overwatch is that I've tried to stop caring about balance way too much and stop caring about the meta way too much. Now, it is still fun to think about, it is still fun to talk about, and that's probably why I do it so much on my channel, because, saying, hey, Hanzo's super OP right now, that is fun to talk about, and talking about his combos and how he works and his win rate, that's all enjoyable. But as far as actually really caring and getting really pissed off if my character sucks, I've tried to stop doing that. I've tried to be more free flow and just kind of accept that the metas will change. Sometimes they'll be unfun, sometimes they'll be not good for the characters I enjoy, whatever. But even if the metas aren't that great, I can still talk about them. I can still, express my opinions about them. And as well, a lot of the times, I don't really care about the metas too much anymore. I don't really care about the balance. I just enjoy the general way that the game flows. And if you've been playing it for this long, you probably do as well. I'm going to say that if you're just a player that has recently given up because everyone else is complaining about the meta, really think about if you hate the meta and hate the game in general, or, again, I guess if you just hate the meta but still enjoy the game. And if it's the second option, maybe wait a while, try some different characters, and maybe even play some of the meta characters, because sometimes it's fun to try out new things that you may not have liked in the past. At least that's what I kind of do every single meta. But in general, those are kind of all my own ideas about why I personally haven't given up in Overwatch. Now, these are particular to me, so yeah, tough luck if you don't really feel like any of these apply to you. But, that's the name of the title, so if you're expecting something different and just completely generalized topics, then, you know, you came to the wrong video. But I hope you guys enjoyed and kind of understand why I'm still playing the game, why I'm still talking about the game, and why I will keep talking about the game, even if I'm not the best Overwatch channel, even if I'm not the best creator. It's just really fun. And that's honestly the only reason why I'm doing this. And I hope it can continue to be fun in the future. And if you want to be along for the ride, you know, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's keep on playing Overwatch. Anyways, as always, guys, though, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a wonderful day.